Good evening and welcome to World Today. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. This is a show where we track the big international developments of the day, a daily window to the world. First up, we'll be tracking the tragic story that has come in from Tamil Nadu about the helicopter crash where Chief of Defence Staff of India, General Bipin Rawat, and other officials were on board this ill-fated helicopter. We'll also focus on the implications of the Biden-Putin talks in resolving the Ukraine crisis. That and much more. First, the top stories. Indian Air Force helicopter with CDS General Bipin Rawat on board crashes near Kunnur in Tamil Nadu. An inquiry has been ordered to ascertain the cause of the accident. Defence Minister briefs Prime Minister Modi, visits Rawat's residence. Rajnath Singh to brief Parliament tomorrow. US President Joe Biden warns Russian President Vladimir Putin, says the West would impose strong economic and other measures on Russia if it invades Ukraine, while Putin demands guarantees that NATO would not expand further eastward. After the United States, Australia has also decided to boycott Winter Olympic Games in Beijing. Decision comes in response to human rights abuses in China's Xinjiang province and many other issues that Australia has consistently raised. Formal boycott risk further straining Australia's relations with China. In hockey, match between India and South Korea at the Asian Champions Trophy has been called off due to COVID concerns. In the first test of Ashes series, England bowled out for 147, whereas Australia's captain Pat Cummins takes 5 wickets at Australia's Gabba. Let's now look at the big news of the day. In a shocking development, an Indian Air Force Mi-17 V5 helicopter with Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat on board met with an accident today near Kunnur in Tamil Nadu. General Rawat, his staff and family members as well as other senior officials were on board. A total of 14 people including the pilot were on board. An inquiry has been ordered to ascertain the cause of the accident. Indian Air Force in a tweet message said that Indian Air Force Mi-17 V5 helicopter with CDS General Bipin Rawat on board met with an accident today near Kunnur, Tamil Nadu, and an inquiry has been ordered to ascertain the cause of the accident. And Defence Minister Rajnath Singh visited CDS Bipin Rawat's residence. He will brief Parliament tomorrow on the details of the chopper crash. And Union Minister for Road Transport and Highways Nitin Gadkari expressed sorrow over the crash of the Indian Air Force helicopter in Tamil Nadu's Kunnur. The minister in a message said, and I quote, "Shocked to hear about the tragic crash of helicopter with CDS Shri Bipin Rawat ji on board. I pray for everyone's safety and well-being." Well, that's the tweet on the screens by Union Minister Nitin Gadkari. And for more updates on this story, my colleague Philip Matthews is joining us from Chennai, Tamil Nadu. Philip, take us through the latest updates on the shocking accident, helicopter crash that took place near Kunnur in Tamil Nadu, and CDS General Rawat was on board.
I can tell you that the Nilgiris district collector SP Amrit a short while ago confirmed that 13 people have been killed in the helicopter crash that took place just near Coonoor this morning. So that he says, of course, the identities of those killed have to be confirmed, and it most probably will be carried out via DNA tests because of the state of the bodies. Most of it was charred, and therefore, it was difficult to make identification based.
Right, Philip, also if you could take us through the sequence of events. Sometime at noon today, this helicopter crash has taken place.
Well, actually, the helicopter took off at around 11:50 a.m. From the Sulur Air Force Base near Coimbatore, which is the nearest Air Force base as far as the Nilgiris is concerned. And it was carrying the staff, his wife, and senior military officials, along with the helicopter crew. And the flight was supposed to land at a helipad in Wellington, in the Wellington military government area at around 12:15. But the problem was that we gathered the party waiting at the helipad, flying the helicopter, and they received, even after the appointed time, the helicopter had not arrived, and that was when they received news that the helicopter had crashed en route just a few kilometers away from the landing site. And that was when the entire reception party, including the fire services and other local officials, rushed to the accident site. In the meantime, local villagers, of course, managed to reach the site, which is about 2 kilometers away from the nearest road. It's located in a tea estate in a place called Kateri, which is about 6 to 7 kilometers from the nearest Coonoor. And the bodies were then removed from the location, and the operation, we are told, has been completed and all the bodies have been accounted for.
All right, Philip, also take us through the sources inform us that leadership from the defense, from the defense and from the political leadership are also expected to reach the site of the accident.
Well, I can tell you that Chief Minister M.K. Stalin is, in fact, should have reached Coimbatore by now. He was scheduled to leave Chennai at around 5 p.m. this evening, and from there he's likely to take reach the accident spot by road, which may take him another couple of hours or so. He will visit the accident site and may probably visit the military hospital as well. What we have been told by sources at the moment. Of course, the Air Force Chief is also reportedly on his way to Coimbatore. Of course, it's quite possible that other senior officials may also visit the location over the next few days.
Right. Philip, you also mentioned that 13 out of 14 people on board had succumbed to the injuries. If you can take us through what is the procedure being undertaken to ascertain the identity of the people who died in the accident?
Well, the collector, SP Amrit, who has actually, speaking to the media a short while ago, he has confirmed that 13 of the 14 on board have been killed. So we are going by his statement. At the moment, of course, what the officials tell us is that given the state of the bodies, DNA tests will have to be carried out to confirm their identities, and thereafter, of course, the list of the deceased will be released to the public.
Right. And Philip, what do we know about the program that General Bipin Rawat was flying to attend to this ill-fated helicopter?
Well, the CDS was due to visit the Defence Services Staff College in Wellington, which is one of the premier training establishments of the armed forces. In fact, you have officials from the three services undergo training, advanced training there, in-service training at this college, which is one of the most prestigious colleges that the defence establishment has in the country. And in fact, we also have officials from foreign militaries also who take part in training here. And in fact, the college has a tradition of inviting dignitaries to deliver lectures at the college. And we've had the defense minister, the finance minister, visiting the college from time to time in recent times and delivering lectures there. And as part of that tradition, the CDS was also due to visit the college along with his wife and other aides and deliver a lecture there and interact with those undergoing training at the institution. But unfortunately, this unfortunate accident has put paid to that, and you know, the entire area, in fact,
the worst seems to have happened. Philip, I'll just stop you for a moment. Indian Air Force tweet on the screens. It says, with deep regret, it has now been ascertained that General Bipin Rawat, Mrs. Madhulika Rawat and 11 other persons on board have died in the unfortunate accident. It's a huge setback and a sad news. Indian Air Force, they're confirming the demise of Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat, his wife Mrs. Madhulika Rawat and 11 other persons who were on board the ill-fated helicopter that crashed earlier today. Indian Air Force putting in that tweet saying, with deep regret, it has now been ascertained that General Bipin Rawat, Mrs. Madhulika Rawat and 11 other persons on board have died in the unfortunate accident. My colleague Philip, who's tracking all the updates since this accident took place, continues to be with us. Philip, a huge setback for the nation, for the defense forces and for the people of the nation. The tragic news being announced by the Indian Air Force, the tweet message saying, with deep regret, they announced the demise of General Bipin Rawat. Indian Air Force has confirmed that General Rawat, Chief of Defence Staff, is no more. That's the big news coming in at this point in time. General Bipin Rawat has died in the chopper crash that took place near Kunnur in Tamil Nadu earlier today. Huge news of the confirmation of the demise of General Bipin Rawat, Chief of Defence Staff, who died. His wife was also with him in the helicopter alongside other officials from the defense forces. My colleague Amritpal Singh is joining us with more updates. Amrit, hugely sad news, a setback for the defense forces and for the nation. But before that, if I can just take a look at the message sent by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. He says, deeply anguished by the sudden demise of Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat, his wife and 11 other armed forces personnel in an extremely unfortunate helicopter accident today in Tamil Nadu. His untimely death is an irreparable loss to our armed forces and the country. Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat is no more. He is killed in the helicopter accident that took place earlier today. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh there putting together his condolences for General Rawat, deeply anguished by the sudden demise of Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat, his wife and 11 other armed forces personnel in an extremely unfortunate helicopter accident today in Tamil Nadu. And Defence Minister further says his untimely death is a huge setback. And there the Indian Air Force earlier had said, with deep regret, it has now been ascertained that General Bipin Rawat, Mrs. Madhulika Rawat, his wife and 11 other persons on board have died in the unfortunate accident, referring to the helicopter crash in Tamil Nadu. Amrit, a huge setback and a sad moment for the nation and the defence forces.
Absolutely, Shubhendu, this is indeed very unfortunate, and as you said, that the Indian Air Force and also the Defence Minister has now confirmed that General Bipin Rawat, the CDS, and his wife Madhulika Rawat, along with 11 others, are no more. There were 14 people on board that ill-fated Mi-17 V5 helicopter which crashed in the Nilgiri Hills near Kannur this afternoon. And there is one personnel, Group Captain Varun Singh. He was directing the staff course at the Staff College at Wellington. He is currently being treated for his injuries at the military hospital Wellington. He is the only one who has survived this crash so far. But his injuries, he is gravely injured in the attack, and he's being treated for his injuries at the military hospital, the MH at the Wellington base, where the staff college is of the armed forces. So right now, in a little while from now, right here behind me at the Prime Minister's office come residence at the Lok Kalyan Marg, the CCS is meeting, or the Cabinet Committee on Security is meeting. So the big news of the hour that both the Indian Air Force and the Defence Minister confirming that CDS General Rawat, his wife Madhulika Rawat, and 11 others, basically 13 people who were on that ill-fated helicopter are no more. And the Prime Minister will be heading the CCS and the Cabinet Committee on Security Affairs, which of course includes the Defence Minister, which includes the Foreign Minister, the External Affairs Minister, will be taking a stock of what happened earlier. As you know, Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh and later the Army Chief General M.M. Naravane visited the residence of General Rawat, the CDS. It is a tradition in the military that the family is first informed. So the information would have come. The Defence Minister was to make a statement in the Parliament, which now he's expected to make tomorrow. But he's already informed the nation that in this mishap, General Rawat, the CDS, is no more. And he went and informed the family. The Army Chief also went and informed the family, keeping in traditions of the military that in case of any mishap or any accident or any eventuality, the family members are the first ones to be informed. And now the nation has been informed that General Rawat did not survive that unfortunate crash of the Mi-17 V5 helicopter, on which he along with his wife and other senior military officials who were headed towards the Wellington base.
Amrit, I'll just stop you for a moment. There is another tweet message that Defence Minister has sent out. Let me just present that to the viewers. General Rawat had served the country with exceptional courage and diligence as Defence Minister. As the first Chief of Defence Staff, he had prepared plans for jointness of our armed forces. Condolences pouring in, and also messages of the stature that General Rawat commanded. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh speaking about the contribution of General Rawat as the first Chief of Defence Staff. His role was both important and unique, Amrit. And there's another message, Amrit, if I can just present that. Just one more moment, Amrit. Rajnath Singh says, "My heart goes out to the families of those who lost their loved ones in this accident, praying for the speedy recovery of Group Captain Varun Singh, who is currently under treatment at the military hospital, Wellington." So, series of messages posted by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh confirming the demise of General Rawat, talking about his stature in the Indian Defence Forces, and also they are talking about speedy recovery of Group Captain Varun Singh, who happens to be the only survivor of this tragic helicopter crash accident. Amrit, I'll just turn to you. Their Defence Minister acknowledging the stature, the significance that General Rawat commanded in the Defence Forces as the first Chief of Defence Staff. His position, his legacy cannot be replaced.
Absolutely. But before that, if I can come
yes.
in on Dr. S. Jaishankar, the External Affairs Minister, has also tweeted that deeply shocked at the tragic demise of CDS General Bipin Rawat and his wife. We worked closely together in the last few years. It's a huge loss to the nation. So External Affairs
and
Minister,
Amrit, the Home Minister has also tweeted. Right, Amrit, I'll just hold you for a moment. Union Home Minister Amit Shah has also sent his condolences, saying a very sad day for the nation as we have lost our Chief of Defence Staff, General Bipin Rawat ji, in a very tragic accident. He was one of the bravest soldiers who served the motherland with utmost devotion. His exemplary contributions and commitment cannot be put into words. I'm deeply pained. That's the message and condolences by Union Home Minister Amit Shah. Amrit, please carry on. You were telling us about the message from External Affairs Minister.
Yes, so Dr. Jaishankar has also put out, the External Affairs Minister has put out his message expressing condolences and saying that we worked very closely in the last few years. It's a huge
right, condolences, Amrita, pouring in.
Of course,
yes, Amrit, there's another message by Union Home Minister Amit Shah. He says, I express my deepest condolences on the sad demise of Mrs. Madhulika Rawat and 11 other armed forces personnel. My thoughts are with the bereaved families. May God give them the strength to bear this tragic loss. Praying for the speedy recovery of Group Captain Varun Singh. A series of messages there coming from Union Home Minister Amit Shah on the tragic demise of General Bipin Rawat. General Bipin Rawat, his colleagues, his wife died in a tragic military helicopter crash that took place earlier today near Kunnur in Tamil Nadu. Just a short while ago, the death of General Bipin Rawat and the others has been confirmed, and there the condolences messages are pouring in. And my colleague Amritpal Singh is tracking all the updates also in terms of the condolences messages that are pouring in. Sorry to have stopped you, Amrit. Please carry on with the point.
So I was saying that, as you said, that condolences are pouring in now that it is confirmed that General Rawat, his wife Madhulika Rawat, and also 11 other military personnel, including the crew of the chopper that crashed, that ill-fated chopper that crashed this afternoon in the Nilgiris on its way to the Wellington base. Now condolences are pouring in. The Prime Minister has called a Cabinet Committee on Security Affairs. I am at the Prime Minister's residence where he, in a few minutes from now, the Cabinet Committee on Security Affairs will meet up and take a stock of the situation, where the Cabinet Committee will be briefed on what exactly transpired by the Defence Minister, that what were the conditions in which this particular crash happened, and after the CCS, some clarity could emerge as to what really happened, though the Indian Air Force has already ordered a court of inquiry, which is of course customary after any accident, to ascertain that what really went wrong and why this particular crash happened. Though the M17 V5 has a very good track record of its flying worthiness, its safety track record, but once officially the Indian Air Force or the Ministry of Defence puts out the reasons for the crash, one would know what really went. But what one is hearing from the local eyewitnesses, that the chopper, which was flying low, was a little short of the Wellington base. It took off from the Sulur base in the Nilgiris, suddenly nosedived and crashed into the valley. Now, what were the reasons? Was it the weather, inclement weather, or was it did it hit the trees, the rotors of the chopper? All that is not very clear as of now, but of course it's an unfortunate incident. Talking about General Rawat, Shubhendu, General Rawat was the first CDS, as we all know, to be appointed. He was a serving general of the armed forces of the Indian Army. That means he was the Chief of Army Staff when he was elevated as CDS on the 31st of December 2019. He's served at important positions. He was made the vice. He served as the Vice Chief of Army Staff from 2016 onwards. Before that, he's held important positions in the army. He was the GOC in C of the Southern Command, or the Army Commander of the Southern Command. He's held other important operational positions as Corps Commander in Dimapur in Nagaland in the northeast. In fact, interestingly, when he was a Lieutenant General and a Corps Commander, he had survived a helicopter crash in 2015. So he was a lucky survivor of a helicopter crash when he was a Lieutenant General in 2015. So, you know, he served as a brigade commander. He served both in Kashmir, along the LOC. He's also served in the northeast. He had a wide experience of both counterinsurgency and also served at important staff positions at the military, at the army headquarters. So he was a man of a wide experience, both operational, commanding experience, and handling staff positions in the military headquarters. As the Vice Chief of Air Staff, he was an important. He had an important role to play in many important operations that the Indian Army, in planning the important operations that the Indian Army had launched, which include the Pathankot operation. So he was a man of great military experience. His operational command, those who have served with him during his operational command tell he was a great planner and executor, and also during his staff appointments, as earlier staff appointments and later as Vice Chief and Chief of the Army Staff and CDS. He's known for great strategic thinking. As a CDS, he was responsible for coordinating all the three forces and between the political establishment and the three forces. And as the first CDS, he had a great role in shaping the contours of the very institution of the CDS, which came into being as he became the Chief of Defence Staff. So indeed, it is a great loss to the nation, and a serving general of the Indian Army dying in a crash like this. It is the first of its kind crash where a serving general of the Indian Army or the Indian Armed Forces has succumbed or died in a crash like this. So in that sense, it is of course very unfortunate and a great loss to the nation, and which surely shall be reflected in the meeting of the CCS, and more details would emerge as to what exactly transpired and how this crash took place.
Right, Amrit, also it's a hugely tragic loss, but the condolences messages as they're pouring in. General Naravne and all ranks of Indian Army have paid heartfelt condolences on the untimely demise of General Bipin Rawat, Chief of Defence Staff, Mrs. Madhulika Rawat, and 11 other passengers on board in an unfortunate air crash at Coonoor. Indian Army sending out that tweet message. Amrit, such a great loss for the defence forces and for the nation, as tragic as it is. What are the implications? Because as you mentioned, a serving general, Chief of Defence Staff, has got killed in a helicopter crash. What implications does it have for the next chain in command? What protocols come into place at a critical situation like this? And before that, Amrit, President of India...
Before I answer that, can I...
President has also tweeted, Amrit, I'll just put you on hold for a moment. I'm shocked, President says, and anguished over the untimely demise of General Bipin Rawat and his wife, Madhulika Ji. The nation has lost one of its bravest sons. His 4 decades of selfless service to the motherland was marked by exceptional gallantry and heroism. My condolences to his family. There, the condolence message coming in from President of India, Shri Ramnath Kovind. He says, I'm shocked and anguished over the untimely demise of General Bipin Rawat and his wife, Madhulika Ji. He says, it's deeply painful for me to learn about the loss of lives in the chopper crash. I join the fellow citizens in paying tributes to each of those who died while performing their duty. My heartfelt condolences to the bereaved families. A series of messages coming in from President of India, Shri Ram Nath Kovind, and condolences messages are pouring in. President Kovind there, and now Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also shared his condolence message. He says, I'm deeply anguished by the helicopter crash in Tamil Nadu, in which we have lost General Bipin Rawat, his wife and other personnel of the armed forces. They served India with utmost diligence. My thoughts are with the bereaved families. Their message coming in from Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the tragic demise of General Bipin Rawat. Prime Minister says, I'm deeply anguished by the helicopter crash in Tamil Nadu, in which we have lost General Bipin Rawat, his wife and other personnel of the armed forces. They served India with utmost diligence. My thoughts are with bereaved families. So top leadership there sharing their condolences. And there is another message by Prime Minister. He says, General Bipin Rawat was an outstanding soldier, a true patriot. He greatly contributed to modernizing our armed forces and security apparatus. His insights and perspectives on strategic matters were exceptional. His passing away has saddened me deeply. Om Shanti. And he posts a picture of late General Bipin Rawat with himself. Condolence message coming in from Prime Minister Narendra Modi. There, Prime Minister saying, as India's first CDS, Chief of Defence Staff, General Rawat worked on diverse aspects relating to our armed forces, including defence reforms. He brought with him rich experience of serving in the army. India will never forget his exceptional service. Series of condolences messages coming in from Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the tragic demise of General Bipin Rawat, India's first Chief of Defence Staff. Prime Minister paying tributes to his great legacy. Says, as India's first CDS, General Rawat's contribution is unparalleled. He says, I am deeply anguished by the helicopter crash in Tamil Nadu, in which we have lost General Bipin Rawat, his wife and other personnel of the armed forces. They served India with utmost diligence. Prime Minister says, my thoughts are with the bereaved families. Condolence messages pouring in, and condolences being led by President of the country and Prime Minister. And Prime Minister sending a series of messages acknowledging the deep contribution of General Bipin Rawat to strengthening India's defences and its contribution as a military person. And Prime Minister says, deeply anguished by the helicopter crash in Tamil Nadu, in which we have lost General Bipin Rawat, his wife and other personnel of the armed forces. They served India with utmost diligence. My thoughts are with the bereaved families. The tragic helicopter crash that took place earlier today is when General Bipin Rawat, India's first CDS, along with others, were killed. Prime Minister saying General Bipin Rawat, along with a picture that he posted of himself with late General Rawat. He says General Bipin Rawat was an outstanding soldier, a true patriot. He greatly contributed to modernizing our armed forces and security apparatus. Prime Minister says his insights and perspectives on strategic matters were exceptional. Passing away of General Rawat has saddened me deeply. Om Shanti. Prime Minister Narendra Modi there sharing his condolence messages, and the PM says, as India's first CDS, General Rawat worked on diverse aspects relating to our armed forces, including defence reforms. He brought with him a rich experience of serving in the army. India will never forget his exceptional service. Series of messages coming in from Prime Minister sharing his condolences about the demise of General Bipin Rawat, and also acknowledging the stellar role that General Bipin Rawat played in strengthening India's defence infrastructure as the first Chief of Defence Staff. And condolences messages have been pouring in since Defence Minister confirmed the tragic demise of General Bipin Rawat and others. His wife Madhulika ji was also with him in the ill-fated flight, and she also was killed in the helicopter crash. And we are showing you the messages posted by Prime Minister, sharing his condolences. And my colleague Amrit Pal continues to stay with us. Amrit, you were taking us through the diverse and stellar legacy of General Bipin Rawat, even as the condolences messages pouring in. We just heard from the President and Prime Minister.
That's right, Shubhendu. The condolences messages are pouring in from all. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari has also posted a message of condolence. Chief ministers of various states are pouring in messages, cutting across the political spectrum. Messages of condolences are pouring in right now. So General Bipin Rawat, if we talk about his legacy, as you were mentioning, the first Chief of Defence Staff, that would have a bearing on defining the institution of CDS itself, because that came into being with him being elevated as the Chief of Defence Staff, even as he was the Chief of Army Staff on December 31st. 2019, and last year on the 1st of January he took over as the CDS. As a CDS, he became the single point contact between the military establishment of the country and the political establishment of the country, guiding the political establishment on matters, military matters, and also on the other hand conveying the political establishment's vision to the military, so that they are in consonance. This institution was created, in fact, in 2019 only. There had been demand for the creation of the institution of the CDS for a long time, for better coordination amongst the political establishment of the country, which is the final decision making body on and the military and the three forces who finally operationalize those commands or put in practice the military doctrine that is affected out by the civilian establishment, which includes the Ministry of Defence. So it was an important institution. Of course, his choice by the government to elevate the Chief of Army Staff as the first CDS speaks about the kind of experience, both operational and the planning experience, that General Rawat brought with him during his long about 40 years of career in the Indian Army. He was commissioned in 1978 in the 5th Battalion of the 11 Gorkha Rifles. In fact, he's the third serving officer, third generation officer. His father was also from the same battalion. So in the army, you can choose to take the parental commission and go into the same battalion that your parents, your father has served. And so he chose to go in that. He comes from a long military tradition, joined the NDA, then passed out of the IMA in 1978. As I just said, that was commissioned into the 5th Battalion of 11 Gorkha Rifles, rose through the ranks, stayed on important operational commands, including as a corps commander in the Northeast. He served as battalion commander in the Valley. He's been on the LOC. He's had a long experience dealing with counterinsurgency. He's held staff positions and operational positions like a corps commander, the army commander. He was also a brigade commander before that, and then later went on to become the Vice Chief of Army Staff in 2016, and then appointed the Vice Chief of Army Staff, and was later appointed the Army Chief. And as a serving Army Chief, he became the first CDS. So he came with a wealth of experience, a long-standing experience, both at the operational and command levels, and also in staff positions, which primarily means that he had a wealth of experience as a planner. He's also attributed to have played a major role in planning out the surgical strikes which were carried out, the Balakot strikes. So obviously the government's trust in him in his abilities as army chief and later as the CDS, speaks of his understandings of matters military, be it, if you remember, during the flare-up in Galwan, he was one of the first military commanders to have reached the theater, and he would directly speak to the troops and would take his own decisions and convey the situation to the political establishment back in Delhi. So he had a great knack both as understanding the vision of the political establishment and understanding the military implications of it, and perhaps that was one of the reasons for his being chosen as the first CDS, as members of the CCS who are meeting here at the Prime Minister's residence, the Defence Minister, the External Affairs Minister, the Prime Minister included, speak about what he brought to the table and how it is a great loss to the nation, Shubhendu.
Absolutely, Amrit. And as you talk about the legacy of General Bipin Rawat, I'm just reminded of the message that the Defence Minister sent a short while ago, talking about the manner in which how the late military leader will also be remembered for the way he worked on bringing together and really synergizing the three different arms of India's defence forces, the Air Force, the Navy and the Army. As the first Chief of Defence Staff, the responsibility that fell on his shoulders was paramount and unprecedented.
Absolutely, his abilities, as I was speaking, essentially the post of the CDS was brought in to restructure the military in a way that it can deal with the challenges of the present day. So the post of the CDS was created for better communication amongst the civilian establishment or security establishment and the military establishment, and within the military establishment the three forces. So General Rawat in this capacity as CDS was in a way the single point advisor to the government on matters military, and also taking it back to the military as to what the vision and of the political establishment, of the civilian establishment is on how the present day challenges need to be met, and what sort of a future doctrine that the country is looking at. So I think General Rawat had a deep instinctive understanding of that, and being a very good communicator. And secondly, one of when you speak with people who've worked with him, I used to cover the defense beat when he was Vice Chief of Army Staff. I've even interacted with him in his capacity as a CDS. His quality of going and talking to everybody. He would just walk up to a Jawan, get into a conversation with him, understand his point of view. He would come out, speak to the media. Many a times he would tell you that, I would speak to you off the record, and he would put in perspective, explain to us as reporters on what he understood as how he understood the situation. So, and he would seek a feedback as to what how the media is perceiving the military. In that gave him a bandwidth of understanding that how what the government, what the military is trying to do is perceived as in the country and widely. So that gave him a great bandwidth of instinctively understanding how what the nation really understands as to what moves are being made or what changes are being developed. And also the political establishment, he had earned a deep trust of the political establishment as somebody who could easily juggle between a military mind and communicate to the civilian leadership also. So I think that was one of the attributes of General Rawat that endeared him both to the military establishment and the civilian establishment. And I think that is, he played his role and defined the very institution of the Chief of Defence Staff of the CDS as the first CDS of the country.
Absolutely. And Amrit, as we talk about his legacy, and you mentioned him as an excellent communicator, I'm also reminded how in the recent years his engagements with the youth in the country had also increased, and there were so many talks that he would go and participate in, interacting with youth from different backgrounds. In fact, the sources tell us that even today he was flying to reach a venue to be able to deliver a talks at the military school. So even as he discharged his responsibilities as the Chief of Defence Staff, his desire, his ability and his capability to communicate with the next generation of youth, military or otherwise, was unprecedented.
Absolutely. I mean, he was very comfortable talking to, as you say, talking to the youth, inspiring them. And today, in fact, this lecture that was to take place at what is called the Defence Services Staff College, it's a combined college of the three military arms, the Army, Air Force and Navy, where middle level and senior officers who are to take up important staff positions. Staff positions are basically positions at the headquarters and even at the command secretariats. They may not directly be operational positions, but they are basically their role is of planning. So generally middle and senior level officers attend these courses and then are selected for positions at the staff where they can get a planning aptitude. So the CDS was to deliver a talk there where you deal not with operational challenges in terms of movement of troops or things like that, but you look at the military doctrine, you look at planning, you look at implementing the vision or translating that down at the operational command level. So the general was to give a talk on that. So the general was, as I said, a very, very good communicator. And one thing when you, which is general knowledge also, that the military men, when they communicate, they're very clinical in their communication, but it's often said that they might not be very good at communicating with people outside the ambit of the military, because they make pinpoint clinical communications. And but General Rawat had the ability to talk to civilians, to youth. As a reporter, I can tell you, he would come down to the media. He will understand your questions. He would understand and try and explain it to you, and he would satisfy the reporter, saying that why I'm not sharing operational details with you, because it can impinge on the security concerns, but this is broadly what we are thinking. So he was a very good communicator in that sense. So when reporters would go in front of their cameras and report, they would report with much greater understanding. They would report understanding the military's point of view. And this is a general grouse of the reporters, that the military in itself is uncommunicative, shuts you off and things like that, thinking that these are matters of national security, and which are also at times. But General Rawat was very good at communicating, telling you that, look, these are operational details which I would not be able to share with you, and we as reporters would understand that, but he would broadly explain you the situation of what the ground situation really is and what the thinking is. So in that sense, I personally found him to be a great communicator, and that was generally the view when you would talk to, say, Jawans of the military. As a general, he didn't need to speak to the Jawans directly in that sense, because you talk through your commanders, you talk through your battalion commanders, your company commanders, etc. But here was a man who was at ease talking to a Jawan, talking to a civilian, talking to a youngster, talking to the political establishment, talking to the military leadership at all levels, at senior military leadership levels, at mid-military leadership levels, as I said, at the Jawans level.
Right, Amrit, and condolences are...
that way, General Rawat...
Right. Amrit, I'll just put you on hold for a moment. Union Minister Anurag Singh Thakur has also shared his condolences. He said, anguished by demise of India's first Chief of Defence Staff, General Bipin Rawat, he served the nation with valour and worked towards strengthening India's defence apparatus. The country will never forget his exemplary service. Om Shanti. Union Minister Anurag Singh Thakur sharing his condolence message for General Bipin Rawat, who was killed earlier today in a tragic helicopter crash near Kunnur in Tamil Nadu. And the Union Minister says, anguished by the demise of India's first CDS, General Bipin Rawat, he served the nation with valour and worked towards strengthening India's defence apparatus. The country will never forget his exemplary service. Om Shanti. Condolences messages are pouring in. This one from Union Minister Anurag Singh Thakur. Earlier, President Kovind, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also shared a series of messages, in fact, sharing their pain and grief at the untimely demise of General Bipin Rawat, who along with his wife and other staff members was killed earlier today in a chopper crash near Kunnur in Tamil Nadu. Indian Air Force a short while ago confirmed the passing away of General Bipin Rawat, the first Chief of Defence Staff of India. Amrit, you were taking us through the rich legacy that General Bipin Rawat leaves behind. Also to understand, when a sitting general of his stature, of his position as the Chief of Defence Staff passes away, what is the kind of protocol that comes into place? Because it is also the question of India's military leadership and security.
My understanding of this is the first time that this institution of CDS is functioning. That is what
Yes.
the CCS is meeting. But my understanding is that the senior most general of all the three forces would be officiating as the CDS now till a regular CDS is appointed. And apart from that, the government would have to take a call on appointing the next CDS. So that would come into play right now. The officiating CDS would be the senior most general amongst the Chief of Army Staff, the Chief of Naval Staff, the Admiral, and of course the Chief of Air Staff. So that would kick in. We were talking about the legacy, Shubhendu.
Yes.
Now, if I can take you through the career of General Rawat. General Rawat, as a CDS, the first CDS, a day before his retirement as Army Chief, became the CDS on the 31st of December 2019 and took office of the CDS from the 1st of January last year. As the CDS, a 4-star general, he was a single point advisor to the government on matters military, coordinating amongst the three forces on how to take, respond to the present day challenges and working out the contours of a futuristic force. General Rawat basically studied at Shimla's St. Edward's School before he joined the NDA at Khadagwasla in Pune. From there on, he goes on to the Indian Military Academy in Dehradun, from where he passes out in 1978 and is commissioned into the 5th Battalion of the 11th Garhwal Rifles, a 4th generation officer. His father was also from Garhwal. The Garhwal regiment, just a moment. General Bipin Rawat from the Gorkha regiment.
Right.
I'm afraid I'll correct myself, from the Gorkha regiment, and then he goes on to serve at the LAC. He commanded a battalion there, an infantry battalion at the LAC along in the eastern sector, along the line of actual control with which is the de facto Chinese border that we hold with the Chinese. He later commands an infantry division in the Kashmir Valley and goes on to command a corps. That's the 3 Corps in Dimapur in Nagaland. General Rawat then was appointed the Vice Chief of Army Staff, and later on December 31st in 2016, he's elevated as the Chief of Army Staff, and in 21st of January 2020, he becomes the CDS. Now, he's held various command and staff positions. He was a brigade commander. He was a GOCNC of the Southern Command. That was he was an army commander. He's been a corps commander. He's been a general staff officer at the Military Operations Directorate. He was the Colonel Military Secretary in the Military Secretary's branch, and of course he's also served as a senior instructor in the Junior Command Wing. He served as part of United Nations peacekeeping operations in the Democratic Republic of Congo. He has that wealth of experience also, and his career highlights were playing an instrumental role in containing the Northeast insurgency, supervising the 2015 cross-border strikes in Myanmar. If you remember, the NSCN IN had killed the Indian Army personnel in Manipur, and they had then the Indian Army had launched an operation, a cross-border operation, which the general himself supervised. He's also credited with planning the 2016 surgical strikes. So that's the kind of experience from the LAC to the LOC, from counterinsurgency in the valley to counterinsurgency operations in the Northeast. Apart from the planning roles, he's played at various staff positions in the Military Directorate as a Vice Chief, as a Chief, and the First Chief of Defence Staff. So that's what the General Rawat brought to the table.
Absolutely, Amrit, there you're taking us through the details of the rich legacy of General Bipin Rawat, who in a tragic chopper crash has died along with his wife Madhulika ji and 11 other staff members. Amrit, also earlier in the day when the news of the chopper crash came in, very limited information about what had happened, about those injured. Now the picture tragically gets complete, and we now know more about what may have happened in that very tragic helicopter crash that took place near Kunnur in Tamil Nadu.
What we know right now is that the plane crashed, the chopper crashed, the Mi-17 V5, on which General Rawat, along with his wife Madhulika Rawat, and 12 others, 14 in total, including 4 of the crew were there. It crashed in the Nilgiris near Kunnur after taking off from the Sulur base. Was heading towards the Wellington base, where the general was to deliver a lecture at the Defence Services Staff College, a training college of the Indian military establishment of all of the tri-services. Around noontime, a mishap happened and the chopper crashed. What we know right now is 13 of the 14 on board have succumbed to their injuries. Group Captain Varun Singh is battling for his life at the Wellington Military Hospital, the base of the military hospital in Wellington. He's the only one who's said to have survived the crash. Also, the general was, as I said, to deliver that lecture. He was accompanied by his spouse, which is customary in the forces. The wife of the officer generally does accompany the military establishment at these kind of functions, does invite the lady. to accompany the officer. So Ms. Madhulika Rawat was accompanying General Rawat, and this crash happened. The exact reasons of the crash are not known. A court of inquiry has been ordered by the Indian Air Force. Clearly it was a bad crash. One would not like to speculate on reasons of the crash, but one would want to wait for the official inquiry of the Indian Air Force. A detailed inquiry is conducted, but I can broadly tell you, the reasons why a chopper or why a craft crashes. It could be either for technical reasons with the machine. That means there could be some fault with the machine. But Mi-17 V5 is a very fit machine of the Indian Air Force, and which the Indian Army also uses. Not to say that it has not had crashes earlier. The Mi-17s have crashed. There is always a risk factor involved. But when any craft takes off, its airworthiness is always tested. Its multiple checks are done. This is not just with military aircraft, this is also with civilian aircraft. Only after the airworthiness certificate is awarded, that means all checks in terms of its pressure tanks, in terms of its fuel tanks, its rotors, its flying worthiness, all checks are done. Only this, then does it get an airworthiness certificate. Once the airworthiness certificate is given, the machine is declared fit for flying. So that's just information to put in perspective. So one could be machine fault with the machine. The second could be human error. In that case also, the crew is checked for their flying worthiness, whether they are fit enough to fly, whether they are well rested, and in the best of their abilities to fly. And these are, especially in the military wing, even in those who fly civilian aircraft, generally keep going refresher courses, and their worthiness, their flying worthiness is generally beyond doubt, but then there is always a scope of human error. By that, I'm not implying that human error happened in this particular case. I'm just listing out the reasons that are generally behind any crash. Technical reasons of the machine, human error, and external factors. The external factors could include weather, inclement weather. It could include bird hit, things like bird hit. It could include external attack by a missile or choppers being or crafts being brought down. Now these are the wide reasons why crafts go down. In this particular case, the COI will give a detailed inquiry on what was the reason behind the crash. They go to the site, which would have, the process would have begun because the COI has already been ordered. The cockpit voice recorder would have been calculated, would have been collected and extracted from the machine, which with the visuals of which we saw was up in flames. That data, there are multiple datas on it. That data would be analyzed technically, that where is the aberration in data, and that's how they technically come down and narrow down to the reason of the crash. Generally, the SOP followed is that the cockpit voice recorder is analyzed, the data is analyzed, and other factors are put into account. It also collects information from the ground and what the local eyewitnesses say, what the first responders or the eyewitnesses see, and all that is put together. And the COI then comes out with the reason behind the crash. It also puts out the recommendations, and those recommendations are implemented so that future mishaps can be prevented and lessons can be learned from the crash. So that is the elaborate procedure that's conducted. Shubhendu.
Right, Amrit, also a military man is remembered for his legacy, and the legacy which is formed by the challenges, the assignments that she may have faced. General Bipin Rawat, in his time as the Chief of Defence Staff in the highest office, he also dealt with challenges which were unprecedented. Whether we talk about Kashmir, you mentioned Northeast earlier, there was of course also the ongoing challenges at the LAC. So in that sense, the challenges biggest ever were all on his plate to tackle.
Absolutely, absolutely. He came with a wide military experience, from commanding companies to commanding a battalion to serving commanding a infantry battalion at the LAC in the eastern sector, serving in the valley, commanding a division which as a major general, then as a lieutenant general commanding a corps in the northeast. So from the northeast to Kashmir to the eastern theater, he's served in all terrains. He's served in all theaters. He's had experience of, as I said, counterinsurgency. He's had experience of serving at the border. He's had experience. He had the experience of staff positions, important staff positions in the military directorate. As the vice chief, he was involved in the planning of the surgical strikes. He was involved in the 2015 cross-border attack, which was the first surgical site, though not as widely celebrated as the Balakot surgical strike, but still widely known, when the NSCN IK militants had come in to the Indian territory and killed the Indian Army personnel, and a countermeasure was adopted, and it was a cross-border strike was conducted in Myanmar, where their camps were destroyed, many of the cadres were taken out. So the general was involved in all that, and as the chief of, as the vice chief, and later as the chief, and later as the CDS, his interactions with the military leadership and the political establishment and affecting that doctrine on ground. He had a wide experience, and in fact he was widely decorated. He was a very widely decorated officer. He was a highly decorated military officer. He had been decorated with the Param Vishisht Seva Medal, or which is known as the PVSM, the Uttam Yudh Seva Medal, the Ati Vishisht Seva Medal, the Vishisht Seva Medal, the Yudh Seva Medal, the Sena Medal. Now these were medals with which General Bipin Rawat had been decorated with at various stages of his career. So he was quite a distinguished officer and quite a distinguished military man with a wide experience, both at the operational command level and as a planner in the directorate and in the headquarters of the military establishment, and as CDS as a single point advisor between the political establishment and the military establishment, and within the military establishment coordinating as the CDS's institution is supposed to with all the three forces to meet the challenges of the present day and affecting and shaping the contours of a force that is not just fighting fit for the present challenges, but is a futuristic force and prepares for the challenges of the future.
Right. Amrit, also as we speak, we know CCS cabinet meeting is underway. There would be different priorities, of course, putting together a condolence message for General Bipin Rawat, but also perhaps more importantly to find his successor who will lead the nation as the CDS in the office next.
Absolutely. I think the CCS would be taking a call on that, because it is an important military appointment which the government wouldn't want to let lie vacant for a very long time, because of its the effect on the military, the national the security of the nation. So I think that would be considered. But right now, I think the protocol, according to my understanding, because this is the first CDS, yes. So there is no precedent to that. But I understand by talking to my sources that generally the senior-most chief takes over as the officiating unless the government decides otherwise, and that is the protocol that will be followed. And then the government would take a decision on who the next CDS is. We are not very clear yet if this particular CCS would come to a decision on that. It could as well. That is the prerogative of the government. We'll only know after the CCS or the Cabinet Committee on Security Affairs finishes and somebody comes out and speaks to us, or it is communicated to the press as to what decisions were taken at the CCS. But of course, the CCS would be apprised of what really happened in this particular incident, how the mishap happened, and what the implications of this could be, and further, because one expects the Defence Minister, as the Parliament is in session, to make a statement tomorrow in both Houses of Parliament on what really transpired. Of course, the Indian Air Force is conducting its own court of inquiry, would have come out with some initial details of, so that would be presented before the CCS. But we do know that the Defence Minister had already briefed the Prime Minister. After briefing the Prime Minister of apprising him of what had happened, he, followed by the Army Chief, had visited the residence of the CDS. It was announced to the nation later that the CDS is no more. That is a military tradition. Whenever an accident, a mishap, or whenever any serving personnel passes away, the family,
and Amrit, as you speak, in fact, we are
the battalion, the family is the first.
Amrit, as you speak, we are also showing visuals of the cabinet meeting that is underway. Please carry on, Amrit. Yes.
So I was saying that's a tradition or a custom in the army and the military, that to keep the dignity of keeping the dignity of the officer and the sacrifice of the officer. The family is first informed in the moment of grief. So keeping that tradition, the Raksha Mantri himself drove down and apparently met the daughter of the CDS at his residence. Later, Army Chief General M.M. Naravane drove down to the CDS's residence, and he met with his daughter and must have conveyed the news to her, the unfortunate news to her about her father and mother. And later, the nation was apprised on what had actually happened. This happened, the crash happened at noontime. It took a little while because the first responders, as we understand, were the locals who tried to douse the craft or the chopper or the helicopter, which according to eyewitness accounts suddenly lost altitude and crashed into the valley. What were the reasons? As I was saying, that the Indian Air Force is ascertaining in its court of inquiry. It's not prudent on our part to speculate on them at this moment. So the local eyewitnesses, their reports in the media say the craft lost altitude rapidly and then crashed into the valley. So one does not know if there was enough time for those on board to evacuate. What we do know is that 13 of the 14 on that ill-fated flight are no more. Group Captain Varun Singh, the sole survivor of that crash, is battling for his life at the military hospital in Wellington. And so after that, the district administration and the forest officials were the second responders. The military officials then reached the site. The Air Force Chief also has rushed to the site. We also know that the Forest Minister of Tamil Nadu was on the site. The Chief Minister M.K. Stalin was going to the site and would later, en route the site, would go to Coimbatore. So that is what is available in terms of information as of now. Rest that would be presented in front of the CCS, and the nation would be apprised of as and when more details emerge from that.
Right. Amrit, also we talk about General Bipin Rawat as the first Chief of Defence Staff, CDS. As you mentioned, that this office really came into being with him. And as the first occupant of such a high office, What were the unique responsibilities that fell on his shoulders? I mean, there was demands for a CDS for a long time, but never in office, never Chief of Defence Staff before General Rawat. How was it for him to take up a challenge which had no precedent before him?
Okay, let's talk about the office of the CDS, the institution of the CDS first. There had been a thinking in the military for a very, very long time that there needs to be an office who can be a 4-star general. The CDS is first amongst the equals. In rank, he's a general. A 4-star general equivalent to the rank of, say, the Army Chief, the Admiral of the Navy, and the Chief of Air Staff, the Air Chief Marshal. So he's first among equals. His role is to coordinate a joint military response to the challenge, to any challenge that may arise. The security challenge of a threat of an external aggression that may arrive. Now that's what the institution is supposed to do. Also to see that the futuristic development of the forces are one in sync with each other, and the other point is, the other role that the CDS has is, he's the Secretary of Military Affairs. He's the Secretary, Department of Military Affairs. He coordinates with the civilian military establishment in the Ministry of Defense, the political security establishment, which includes, of course, the highest office of the country, political office of the country, down to the defense minister, to the other members of the CCS. Now, these are political decisions that a government takes. Say, if one has to go to war with another country, it is by the end of the day a political decision based on inputs from the military. There was a need felt for an institution that could communicate between the military and the government and the military, and within the military among the three forces. The futuristic wars that we are looking are not the kind of wars that countries used to fight in say earlier. Now these wars are very complicated. There is an economic angle to it, imposing economic blockades, cyber attacks, diplomatic offensives. So the war now is at multiple levels. There is a perception war, there's an information war. So there are many, the traditional war has completely transformed now. So there was long felt the need for the office of, or the institution of a combined defense of a CDS. Now, this is what the institution of the CDS, there was a interim chief of integrated defense staff which used to be there to coordinate, but generally he would he wasn't the first among equals, as in he wasn't a serving general. He was generally an officer of a lieutenant general rank. So it was felt the need for a officer of a general rank who's generally an equivalent, but the first among equals was held. Now General Rawat, as the first CDS, given the wealth of his experience, given his great communication skills, given his instinctive understandings of matters military and matters political, was very brilliantly poised to play that role. And I'm sure his legacy, as time would reveal, would have a great bearing on shaping the contours of the office of the CDS. And I think that is what, amongst all the other things, amongst all his distinguished service, General Rawat would be remembered for in history.
Right. Amrit, if you could also once again take us through the significance of the cabinet meet that is underway as we speak, and the key issues on the agenda. Of course, it is in the backdrop of the tragic demise of General Bipin Rawat, who died in the chopper crash earlier today.
That's right. So I think the CCS would be looking at, first the CCS would be briefed by the military, about what really happened in terms of how the crash took place, what their initial findings, etc. are. Then the CCS, or the Cabinet Committee on Security, would weigh the implications of what has happened in terms of military implications, would look at authorizing and officiating CDS. The CCS, the government also has to take a call on the CDS, the next CDS. We don't know if the government would take a call today in this CCS, but sooner than later. Also, a strategy to deal with the implications of that, because you are in a atmosphere of great flux, talking geopolitically. There is tensions on the eastern border. The LOC is always hot. They would be briefed about what implications it could have. So the CCS, given all that, would review the implications of what has happened and what to do about the office of the CCS, apart from the political establishment being briefed on what the military, especially the Air Force, in their initial finding of the crash have been able to decipher.
Right. Amrit, also some insight into the personal journey of General Bipin Rawat. As a young military officer, he was commissioned into the Gorkha regiment, following the footsteps of his father and family of defense personnel. That makes one's association with India's defense forces all the more special.
Oh, he was a serving fourth generation officer. And in the military, Shubhendu, this is when you speak to the serving or even retired officers, they take great pride in coming from a long tradition of or having a family history of serving in the forces. So he was a fourth generation officer who, as a young cadet, joined the NDA in the 70s, got commissioned into the Gorkha regiment in 78, and then goes on to become the CDS, goes on to become a 4-star general, the highest serving general in the army, though there's a 5-star general also, not presently though, which, who's called a field marshal, but that's more of a honorary appointment and a lifelong appointment. But this is an operational serving general of the forces. The 4-star is what the serving personnel can aim to reach. There is only one general and now 2 generals in the Indian Army. So, and the man held both appointments. He held other significant appointments.